Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we are going to have a little chat about the new starter sets for Warhammer 40k. So, new edition, new starter sets. Funnily enough, they are going to be Space Marines versus Necrons. You are shocked, I can tell you are. Admittedly, this is actually kind of interesting because the general response to Indomitus was, okay, cool, awesome, but what are we going to do for new starters? I assumed that we would get some, I just wasn't sure what form they would take, whether they would tie in directly to how Games Workshop currently does starter sets, or whether we would see some version of Indomitus in the future that was not limited and was instead repackaged Dark Imperium style to be something, well, not Dark Imperium wasn't repackaged, something similar to Dark Imperium, you get what I mean, available just all year round. And it looks like it's an interesting mix of the two. So, Let's have a look at the different editions. Now, there is a video for this, which, to be honest, we're going to skip because you don't get that much more information out of it than you do from just looking at the pictures of the thing. And also, there's less chance of me having a copyright strike for music that way. Which I shouldn't get anyway, but I do. But never mind. Let's have a look. So, the Indomitus launch box hit shelves all across the world over the weekend, and excited hobbyists everywhere heading down to their nearest Warhammer store, etc, etc. Yet even in the aftermath of all this excitement, we've got more news on what the future holds for the new edition of 40k. After all, Indomitus was a celebratory box set, primarily aimed at veteran Warhammer hobbyists, but we certainly haven't forgotten about all you newcomers to the grim darkness of the far future. Behold our glorious new range of starter sets. There's a video, it doesn't show you really anything more than what we can see right here, so we'll skip it. So, Recruit Edition. It looks like this is in 3 tiers by the look of things, which is essentially how the current starter sets have worked anyway. So, starting out on the low end of the price range, you've got First Strike at 25 quid, then you've got No Fear at 50 quid, and then you've got a Dark Imperium at £95. Dark Imperium no longer available, worth pointing that out quickly. So, Recruit Edition for the new starters. What do we have? Well, we have the data sheets. We've got a Recruit Edition book, a Recruit Manual, which has got missions and some basic rules in there. Got transfer sheet, some plastic, not plastic, some cardboard terrain, just a big box block. Battle map, some measuring rules, and some dice. Model-wise, these are the same as the ones from Indomitus, as far as I can tell. They even have the Indomitus Crusade van brace decoration thing on the arm. So we've got the 5 Assault Intercessors, we've got the Primaris Lieutenant, the Blade Guard Lieutenant, we've got 10 Necron Warriors, the Necron equivalent of the Lieutenant, because I always forget what that's called. It's new, alright, I can remember most of it. That guy, I just keep forgetting. You know what I mean. Bigger, bulkier warrior stands with the other warriors. It's fine. And 3 Scarab Swarms. I'm assuming that this will come in at around the same price as First Strike. I mean, they seem roughly equivalent, to be honest, model-wise. In fact, if we look at it, there's 6 Primaris there. There's 3 Death Guard, and is that 6 Poxwalkers? So actually there's a little bit more in this one. It could well be that the starter sets increase in price slightly as well. It might be that this is closer to like 30 to 35 quid instead of 25 quid. No, I mean, to be honest, First Strike it's not bad for 25 quid, to be honest. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether this does go up in price at all. So that seems to be the rough equivalent. So, I mean, Recruit Edition, that sounds way clearer to me than First Strike. First Strike doesn't mean a huge amount. Recruit Edition, you kind of have a better idea as to what you're getting into for that, to be honest. I think the new naming system is a bit better. At least it starts out better. Then we have Elite Edition. So next step up is Elite Edition, a larger selection of units, including the awesome new Necron Overlord and Primaris Captain. So for this one, we've got what looks like a second bit of cardboard terrain. Yeah. Or just a bigger box by the look of it. Actually, that's probably the box that they come in. The bottom of the box is probably what that is. You just turn upside down and use as terrain. So for this, I've never actually looked at First Strike or No Fear. Like, I've never seen them in the flesh. I've not needed to, funnily enough. So for this one, we've got the 10 Warriors, we've got 3 Scorpec Destroyers, a Plasma Sight, we've got the Necron Overlord, We've got the 3 Outriders, the 5 Assault Intercessors, and the Captain instead of the Lieutenant on this one. It looks like the Necron equivalent of that is not in this box. Let's just have a quick count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so we've dropped the Lieutenant and the Necron equivalent from the previous version, but gained an Overlord and a Captain. Which, to be honest, that adds up. That works out pretty well. How does that stack up to No Fear? So this is No Fear. Again, 50 quid for No Fear. Numbers wise stacks up as being, I think, a few, like fewer models, do we reckon? Yeah, well, about the same in fairness. I mean, yeah, First Strike and Recruit Edition, pretty much equivalent. No Fear and Elite Edition, again, pretty equivalent by the look of it. I will say the maybe it's just the photo, but the battle mat looks better quality. I mean, it's a more sensible design at the very least. I'll give them that. It might just be paper again, in which case, fine. But the actual design of it is a lot more forgiving, if that's the right word. Like, you can tell that that's just paper laid out, and the print quality makes it really obvious that it's like cheap. Whereas that actually doesn't look cheap. I think that's just a better approach to that as a whole. So yeah, so that's the Elite Edition, and the final one is the Command Edition, which I'm assuming this is going to be. I mean, this is the equivalent of the Dark Imperium box, but there is an interesting change to this. So not only does it include all the amazing models in the Elite Edition, it also boasts a fantastic fold-out double-sided gaming board. So this has got a. What's the difference? Is there a difference? No, there isn't, is there? That looks exactly the same. The gaming board. The battle mat thing. Yeah, it looks pretty much identical, unless those are paper and this one is of a higher quality, like a cardboard instead. Looks the same to me though. Yeah, double-sided gaming board, cracking selection of brand new battlefield terrain. Now this is interesting to me. Because they haven't added any more models into this. They've added terrain instead. Which I'm wondering if part of that is down to like the success of like Warcry with dumping the entire battlefield into a single box. Because to be honest, I kind of half expected them to basically release a stripped down version of Indomitus to replace Dark Imperium. So not as many characters, but stick like the Blade Guard veterans in, or the Melter lads for the Primaris. I kind of expected something more akin to that. Having it changed so that you've got the same number of models as the previous box, but there's terrain instead, that is an interesting one. You do, of course, get the full rulebook in this one as well, along with your command book that comes with it. I reckon that is probably still going to be about the same price as Indomitus. For some, I think that'll be really good value. I think I don't know, that's kind of an interesting one. That is kind of interesting, because it feels like a shift. It feels like a change in direction somewhat. Be interesting to see how popular that is and what the reaction is to that, because Dark Imperium was much more heavily packed with models, it feels like, than this starter. Might not even be the same price. I wonder if this might be a little bit cheaper. This is a lot of conjecture, really. This is a lot of just thinking out loud and wondering, but we will see. So, a word on Blade Guard veterans, it says. You may have noticed that none of the new starter sets include the Mighty Blade Guard veterans from the Indomitus box. Well, there's a reason for that. So these guys are the multi-part kit. They are a separate kit for the Blade Guard veterans. You notice no Indomitus symbol on the armour there. These glorious warriors will soon be available in a separate multi-part kit of their own. Yeah, okay. Overall, they don't look bad. They look like decent starter sets. I think the naming scheme is way better. I think Recruit Edition, Elite Edition, and Command Edition, that works better than First Strike, No Fear, and Dark Imperium, because with all three of those, I feel like you need to be already kind of invested in the world for the names to make sense, frankly. Well, maybe that's a bit unfair towards First Strike, but yeah, I feel like The rename is decent. The actual contents of the boxes are roughly equivalent, so they look fine. The actual contents look decent enough. The interesting one is definitely the Command Edition. That shift away from piling more models into the box and instead providing terrain is... I'd be curious to hear what you think about that, actually. I'm in two minds. On the one hand, I like it because it provides a more complete battlefield. Like, the box is more complete if you have proper terrain in there. Proper terrain is a nice thing to have. It's a nice thing to game with. And it could be something that is easily overlooked by people newer to the hobby. Because the draw will always be, oh, well, I want more models. I don't want terrain. I'm not bothered by terrain. I want more shiny models to paint. But it does provide a better experience actually playing with it. So, yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. Whether you think that's a good move, a bad move, whether it's just a side grade, not necessarily a downgrade from the sheer number of models in Dark Imperium, but it's actually just different and not bad. Also, taking bets. Let's take some bets. More expensive or less expensive, these editions? Honestly, I reckon that Recruit is probably going to be, I'd say 30 quid. I think the price is going to go up slightly. You can say 30 quid at minimum for First Strike, for Recruit Edition. I reckon Elite Edition probably the same, probably an increase to maybe 55, although 50 is kind of a sweet spot for that kind of thing. The real question is Command Edition. That's the one I'm really not sure about. I wouldn't be surprised if that stays exactly where it is, if that sticks under that £100 limit, because that £100 limit, I know it's only a psychological thing, but I swear to God that has a genuine impact on whether you decide to buy something or not. Sometimes it's just like, oh, well, actually, it's not that expensive, even though it is. Yeah, be interested to hear what you think about the pricing and the contents of these. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you would like to subscribe, that would be lovely. It's entirely up to you. I'm not going to force you to do it. I would not be physically capable of doing that anyway. Yeah, let me know what you think. Feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click it if you don't want to. And as always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.